Hi, my name is Bahar Yaghoubi, and this is Uruguay Through My Eyes.
Every journey begins with a feeling, a quiet voice that says, what if there's another way to live? For Bahar and her family, that voice began on the shores of Hawaii, a place that began to whisper, there's more out there.
So, Hawaii, it's one of the most special places in the world that I've ever been to. It is a place that, it's the place I met my husband. It's the place that my two children were born. It is a deep part of our family unit. Hawaii, naturally, is mountains and waterfalls and oceans. It's some of the most beautiful landscape I've ever seen in my life. And also the people are so kind and so giving. And what it taught both Jason and I, it taught us how to let go of material things. It was the beginning of us truly learning how to farm and to take care of the land and to appreciate our surroundings. We were hoping that that's going to be the place to raise our children, but at the same time, Oahu, this island that we're living on, is surrounded by military. Unfortunately, there is so much military in Hawaii, and the more wars continue, the more we feel guilt. And I think this year, having two kids, even my parents who live in Hawaii with us, they even said, the time is now. I met my husband about 13 years ago, and right away, we started talking about where in the world do we want to live. And Uruguay came up every time. And I think the reason Uruguay came up is because we're politically very active. And at the time, Jose Mujica was in power and president, and we were following what he was doing as president. And it clicked with us. This is a place that's doing things the way we want to see a government do things. So Uruguay went into our minds, and it became something that we wanted to go experience. One of the biggest things we were looking for was to live and be a part of a country that was not actively involved in wars, and where freedom is part of everyday life. That was a big thing for us. We are really big peace activists. We are anti-war activists. We dedicate our lives to, preaching this talk. But when we live in a country that is still so engaged in war, we were really seeking for that country. And in so many ways, Uruguay fits this for us. It's a place that's not actively involved in wars or sending, weapons. And what we want is to raise a family in a place where we feel safe, and we're not going to be supporting something like this, and our kids can be proud of this country that they are going to be raised in and the flag that they will be waving. This is so important to us, and I think for that reason Uruguay really stood out, and I think to be in this nation and to be accepted and to be welcomed has been really something so special for us, because it's a new beginning. I had to leave Iran when I was 1.5 years old. We had to flee. And so from an early age, I learned resilience through my mother, who had to take me. And we moved throughout my childhood. And I think it's inside my bones how to move and navigate and to be resilient. But I think, the reality is, having a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, it adds a whole nother aspect of exhaustion and tiredness. And there's only one way forward, and that's to push through. There's as a mother, you never stop. You never just stop. There's always tomorrow. There's always the next day. And so, we've learned that anything is possible. We've learned that we can do it. And if I can do it, everybody can. I think in those moments when I feel really stressed and I feel overwhelmed, I start to think about why we're doing this. And I think about all the positive aspects of our move. And I think that just kind of helps push me forward past anything that's coming up that might be negative. And I know that, we have resources, and I know we have support, and I feel fortunate. Sometimes when we feel exhausted, we just have to think about, not everyone has this opportunity. And to me, it's an opportunity. And, some people they're forced to leave places, and we're choosing to do this. So it's a choice. And through this choice, we have to be able to get through these decisions that we're making. And there's only one way forward, and that is just to go over that hump. And that's what we've done. And we've done it day by day and minute by minute, and we just move forward. First glimpse was just, wow, this is just so nice. Everything looks so nice. And then we got our taxi cab and we went to our first, short-term stay, and we just said, everything is just trees and beauty. And I think we were overwhelmed with, of course, the beauty, but at the same time, I always tell my husband, the first 2 days, I was overwhelmed. I think I was overwhelmed not knowing the language and I felt like an outsider. And I think that's a natural part of being human when you're put into a surrounding that's not your comfort zone, is you feel this true just shock in your system. And again, that's something that you just have to get past, because after even 3 days, it just felt like it went away. But that first moment, physically, it looked so beautiful, but inside you feel like an outsider, and that's natural. And now we feel like we've completely immersed ourselves into, the people we want to be and the people we want to be around. We were so excited to see all the oceans and waves. We came from Hawaii. There's something about the ocean, and especially just hearing the crashing of the waves. That's something we didn't necessarily experience in Montevideo. There's a lot of similarities, but also so many differences. And something about Punta del Este reminded us a little bit more of where we had come from, kind of more this kind of touristy, catering to outsiders, but also there's this natural beauty amongst all of these buildings. Because the first thing you see is development, but also we started to walk the peninsula, and the beauty of the peninsula and the natural ocean landscape. Every day we say this is so beautiful. So I think overall we feel really good about being in Punta del Este. It feels like a place we want to call home. It definitely feels like the place we want to raise our children. There's been times that we've gone to eat somewhere, or we've gone to a store, and even maybe we didn't buy something, or maybe we were just looking for something, and on our way out, the person working will say, excuse me, and they'll hand the kids a little treat. And just this week, actually just yesterday, we were at a park, and we were eating somewhere, and the tia said, after we paid and everything, she said, I have 2 popsicles for your kids. And there's something so special about people going beyond what they need to do, and I think that's that extra effort that makes raising a family so special. And you made the right decision, because you have people that are helping your family when they don't need to. And I think that's something I know my kids will remember. And that's special. We may not have been surprised, because everyone kept saying how nice people were going to be. But at the same time, I think we're overwhelmed actually experiencing the kindness and the love and warmth of Uruguayans. What we realize is people will go out of their way to assist us, and there's been times that obviously we don't know Spanish yet fluently, and people will just take their time. They don't rush us along, or they don't feel that we're a burden. I think people are patient, and it really shows, and we've felt really welcomed so far. And I think that's a real testament to the people, and to feel that comfort is truly because of the people of Uruguay. We have been through a lot just in this past couple months. You know, the preparation of the departure from the US and arriving to Uruguay. For little kids, that's a really big shakeup of, you know, what they know. And I think what it's teaching our family and what it's doing as for us as a family is we're able to say, you know, we did this together. We're doing this because we can support each other. And, you know, at days that someone may have a hard time, someone else can, you know, step up. And I think for our kids, it's teaching them resilience. It's teaching them to move every 2 weeks to a new home. And it's okay to let go. And it's okay to try new. I think that's the most important thing. And when each of us does this for ourselves as a unit, our family really has done something together. And that's what's making our bond stronger because we have this shared experience. Home to me is also where I feel safe and where I feel accepted and where I feel comfortable. And so where my family goes and we can live anywhere, it's where we feel safe. And I feel that right now in Uruguay, this is where we feel safe. And we feel that as a family, we function the best. And we have felt the greater sense of happiness. This to me is home. And I think, again, when we move to different places, it's a matter of finding these safe places. So right now, this is safe. I think the biggest difference is that we have a peace of mind that we didn't have before. My husband, who had served in the U.S. military, he has so much trauma that's connected to our time still in Hawaii and in the U.S. So leaving that and coming to a place where, you know, his mental health has so much to do with our family unit and us being as happy as we can be. And so today, our life feels so much happier and it feels so much safer and it feels, there's a sense of relief that we didn't necessarily feel before, you know. And so I think there's just a comfortableness that we feel now that is new to us and it feels really good. I think early on when we decided to move, I knew right away with a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, I cannot do this on my own. And I don't know Spanish, so I knew I needed someone to hold my hand from A to Z. So immediately, you know, finding out about Sierra Atlantica, I was able to I was able to let go, and I was able to just remove myself from the process and say, someone is going to tell me what to do from A to Z. And this was probably the greatest gift I could have given myself as a mother, because I needed to have all my energy for my kids and for the move and selling our place. And there was no way I could have done half of it without someone helping me. And I think the team has been phenomenal at being able to lift this burden off of me. And I think for me, as someone who had the ability to do so, I have no regrets. Sierra Atlantica is a gift I gave myself. To know that I can enjoy this process, that I can be present with my family, and to not have to worry, it's a blessing. You know, I always have a feeling that you can always go back to where you came from. So I think a big thing is taking the risk to go and make the leap, because you always know if it gets too hard or too difficult, you can always go back to where you came from. But the biggest regret you'll always have is not taking the leap.